The sales of the Nintendo Switch 2 console have been extremely positive so far. We know that it rocketed past 3.5 million sales in just 4 days, and that was a solid start. But unfortunately, we know that a lot of third-party titles aren't selling well right now. So it says the Nintendo Switch 2 is a huge upgrade from its predecessor, more power, more speed, and graphics you can't take your eyes off of. However, according to recent reports, Nintendo's greater commitment to Switch 2 third-party titles might not be paying off yet because Mario Kart World is, of course, dominating on the Switch 2. Like we expected, everybody loves Mario Kart. Everybody was excited for this to be the big Switch 2 launch title. I think that they should have also launched with Bonanza, but I understand they were trying to space the releases out, though I'm personally a little bit more excited for Bonanza than I was World. Regardless, though, it was good. It says, though, it's hard to not see Bonanza continuing the early momentum and success. These games have one thing in common: they're first-party releases. It's a different story for third-party games from what reports say. The Switch 2's vastly upgraded specs means the device is well-equipped for bigger third-party games, and according to the game business, most third-party Switch 2 games posted very low numbers. One third-party publisher characterized the numbers as below our lowest estimates, despite strong hardware sales. Now, this isn't going to be shocking for anybody who pays attention to Nintendo. The Nintendo console sells because of Nintendo first-party titles. You can't get Mario Kart World on another platform. You can't get Donkey Kong Bonanza on another platform, whereas something like, I don't know, Cyberpunk 2077, you can get on every other platform. And sure, you might say to yourself, oh, I really wanted to play it on the Switch 2, and I'm sure that it is good on that, but typically people are not going to gravitate towards something like Cyberpunk 2077 on a Switch 2 versus a PC or an Xbox or a PlayStation. Plus, Nintendo has always marketed themselves as a family company. They're making consoles for families, they're making content for families, and families probably aren't going to go out of their way to buy something like Cyberpunk 2077. They are looking for the Marios, the Donkey Kongs, they're looking for those really fun, lighthearted experiences. So I think that the difference in content is also what is driving these sales to be significantly lower. It says data shows that there has been more attention to third-party games early on, but these figures are skewed due to certain factors. The Switch 1 only launched with 5 physical games: Breath of the Wild, 1 and 2 Switch, Just Dance 2017, Skylanders Imaginators, and Super Bomber R. By comparison, the Switch 2 had a wider selection with 13 physical games available at launch. It's believed a lack of reviews at launch created a sense of discomfort and distrust towards third-party media on the Switch 2, which I also think is a massive problem, because when I see something like Cyberpunk 2077 being announced for the Switch 2, in my head I'm instantly like, oh, this is going to run like trash. And I know the Switch 2 is much stronger than the first, but it's still 5-year-old technology. It's still not like state of the art, a legitimate competitor to a gaming PC or a PlayStation 5 Pro or an Xbox Series X. You still do not expect that level of quality on the Switch 2. And I think that it is a very good console so far, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I'm here to buy a Pokemon. I'm here to buy a Mario Kart World. I'm here to buy a Bonanza on a Switch. The game business continues. One of the drawbacks for third-party publishers is the fact that Switch 2 is backwards compatible with some older games, including things like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, receiving technical improvements on the new hardware. In other words, even if Switch 2 owners are looking at other games to play post Mario Kart, they have other options available. I do also think that this is a good point, and I also think that it is true. If I wanted to play something like a Pokemon, right, I don't have to buy a new Pokemon game until the latest one releases. After I've finished Mario Kart, I can go to that back library instead of having to just go out and swipe my credit card on a brand new title. I personally think that the Switch 2 launch lineup was very weak. I think that they could have done a heck of a lot better. And again, like with Bonanza, I know that they're spacing it out, but I think that that also hurts because there's not several what I would call absolutely major exclusive launches. It says you also have to consider that many of these Switch 2 ports have already been out for several years, and they're not new games yet. It's like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, as it says, but something like Breath of the Wild, something like Tears of the Kingdom. I do think that a lot of people, though, as time goes on, are going to give these games more of a chance. I think that there are going to be individuals that will wait for user reviews and what gamers actually think about the performance. And when those people maybe finish a Cyberpunk and they leave their reviews and that score is high, then more people will kind of jump on the third party bandwagon and support them. But I don't think that at launch they should have expected high numbers for third party titles. It is good that they are trying to give them more of a spotlight, but at the end of the day, most people are buying a Nintendo Switch 2 for the Nintendo first party title. So I'll be keeping my eye on this situation to see if we get any other clarifications or sales numbers. But as of right now, we are hearing that apparently the sales are so bad that one third party publisher characterized the numbers as below their lowest estimates. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.